to another episode of Let's Rewatch, the show where we like to watch movies we loved in our youth and see if they're still any good. I'm Nick.
I'm Brett.
I'm Sam.
I'm Ash.
I'm not introducing myself yet.
You can introduce yourself. Special guest Marissa Skell.
I want to
introduce.
Take some initiative.
We have a guest this week who needs no introduction, so I won't introduce you.
No. But I'm going to say my name is Marissa Skell. Hi.
Hi, Marissa.
Who you may remember from episode 2 of Let's Rewatch.
Yeah.
When we watched Jumanji.
Jumanji.
So welcome back, Marissa.
You may
Thank
not
you.
remember Nick, though, because you did fall asleep.
I might not remember. Yeah. I don't remember everything.
This might mark 2 for 2. Maybe you just fall asleep for the movies that I watch.
Maybe.
Maybe. So this time we're watching a movie that plugs directly into a holiday. This is the Festivus classic, 10 Things I Hate About You. It is a Festivus movie, right? Because that's the holiday that's all about airing grievances.
Oh, okay.
Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Okay, it's a Valentine's Day movie. God, I can't do stuff like that.
I don't even. Yeah, I mean, it's not like Valentine's Day happens in the movie.
Okay, but it's a movie about the heart.
Yes.
Yes.
It's a romance.
It's
Something topical.
yeah, a redoing of Shakespeare's I should know this. Wait, do you guys not know this?
So
I do know this. Taming
Yes.
of the Shrew. I wasn't
Yes.
sure if I was going to say it before or after,
Oh.
but
I just
now
spoiled
you just
it.
opened that
Damn
book.
it, true. Stop it.
I wanted to play a little game. So there are a lot of movies that are not based on Shakespeare movies.
Okay.
Now, don't name any of them, but who of you thinks you know a lot of these? Can any of you name a lot of them?
Wait, that are based on Shakespeare
Yeah,
movies?
that are based on Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. That's
Right.
Not, something.
You're
like
talking
this.
about adaptations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I got a couple.
Yeah. You think you could knock some down? Anybody else want to go against the master here? Anybody want to challenge?
I know.
I only got a
one
couple.
movie.
I got nothing.
You got
Yeah.
nothing? You can't think of any?
I'm just the pretty face in a faceless podcast.
I had the internet to help me, but I have a pretty
You do
decent
have a
list here.
face for radio. It's great.
Thank you, Ash.
You're welcome.
I don't know. There's some big names on here. Like, what do you have in mind?
Well, the biggest one that I can think of is the whole Lion King as Hamlet
Okay.
thing.
Oh yeah.
And then I think the one I was thinking of is actually not Shakespeare, but the female writer who wrote all those awesome romancy things.
Jane Austen?
Jane Austen.
Oh,
Emma?
there have been a lot of new
Gwyneth-
Jane Austen redos, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Are some of Jane Austen's things
Isn't
Shakespeare?
Emma
Mm-hmm.
Emma
Pride and Prejudice, Emma.
yeah, is Emma just straight up a play or a book of hers? Can't remember.
My Jane Austen knowledge is not there.
Yeah.
yeah, I think all I got is Lion King. Sorry.
Okay.
I lied.
Okay.
I was reading that Lion King 2 is basically Romeo and Juliet, but I haven't
Ugh.
seen Lion King 2.
No, that doesn't exist.
I think you guys are missing a huge one. Like a pretty
Probably.
I
obvious
feel
one.
like I am.
Probably.
I feel like
wasn't
you're gonna
prepared for
say
this.
them, and then I'll be like, oh yeah.
Shit. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly what's
like
gonna happen.
West Side Story.
Oh,
Of course, like that's the big
yeah,
one,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I've actually never seen West Side Story.
I don't think I've seen it either.
I haven't seen it all the way through.
I had a side story. I had an English teacher once who was sick, and so we had a substitute in, and the substitute was like, "All right, your English teacher," because we were reading Romeo and Juliet. He was like, "Your English teacher wants me to have you guys watch West Side Story," so he put it on for like 10-15 minutes, and we were all like, "This movie sucks," and he was like, "Yeah, it really does. You guys want to stop watching it?" And we're like, "Yeah."
wow.
So I've never seen the whole movie.
Wow.
That's fantastic.
That's harsh, man.
I mean, and I even like Shakespeare, but I don't know.
I'm gonna second that, and this is coming from somebody who worshipped Stephen Sondheim growing up.
Oh yeah,
But
That's
Stephen
not great.
Sondheim actually completely swore off that entire musical because he hated it so much.
Oh wow.
Interesting. So he wrote the music for that?
Yeah, I think Leonard
away.
Bernstein was
Bernstein?
the primary composer, and he came in and he was like this new hot young composer who kind of made a lot of the main themes in the piece, but he later went on the record saying that he thought it was garbage.
I love when you're like not confident and your voice keeps going on.
Yeah.
You're gonna hear a lot of that because I really don't remember most of this. or any of the actors' names in this.
Oh, you'll remember.
Yeah.
You'll remember.
Yeah.
There's some big names in this
I know
movie.
HL, but that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this movie brought
Keith.
us some of our important players of the day.
Are there any Arnold movies on the list?
Not that I saw.
Juliet.
That would be.
I would not be shocked to see him play Hamlet. Or no, I'm
Interesting.
thinking King Lear.
Yeah.
Something like that.
He would be a good King Lear.
Yeah.
I'd buy him.
There
He's the
in Last
crazy
Action
king.
Hero, he does that scene where he's like, to be or not to be. Pulls out the gun, not to be.
So Akira Kurosawa's Ran is based on King Lear. There's a movie that Julia Stiles also appears in called O, based on Othello.
I remember when that came out and completely tanked.
Yeah, I don't remember it being that popular.
The name of
Nope.
the movie is its own review. Oh.
Brett.
So yeah, our big stars here, of course, are going to be Julia Stiles, Heath Ledger, and JGL.
Was that it for your Shakespeare list?
Yeah, wait, that's not like
I've got a
some
few more-
profound.
Not-
my mind is not
I was expecting
blown.
life-changing information here.
Well, I was pulling out the most recognizable. So
Really, I've not heard of any of those movies you
West Side
listed.
Story.
Well, West Side
Yeah.
Story. Okay.
I didn't mention Romeo Must Die. That was clearly based on Romeo and Juliet.
Also haven't.
With guns.
There's Kiss Me Kate, which is interesting because it's like the story is actors playing out Taming of the Shrew, while also the story itself has influences of Taming of the Shrew. So it's like this
Okay.
double depth
I
thing.
think there was also a movie that came out at Sundance probably 4 years ago that was a completely modern retelling of Shakespeare, and it's all took place in one house, right?
Oh, no, I was going to ask if it was that one where everybody's in L.A. And it's like Romeo and Juliet in L.A.
Yeah. That might be the one I'm thinking of.
But that was much older than
You're not
4 years
thinking
ago.
of the Baz Luhrmann with Leo DiCaprio.
That is the one I'm thinking
Okay.
of.
Oh.
Yeah. There was another on the list, She's the Man, which seems like it would have been around this same time period.
It was a soccer. It was that girl who had Amanda Bynes.
She had Amanda Bynes?
No. I was
Like tied up in her basement?
She gave birth to her.
I thought it was a gave birth, but that's an even totally darker statement.
Dark Nick.
I meant
Yeah.
she had
Explains what happened to her the last few years.
Jeez.
She's still tied up in her basement.
Okay, so several half thoughts were said in that sentence. That girl who had her own SNL type show for kids, Amanda Bynes.
The Amanda Show.
Oh, there was a comma.
No, there were words
Or no.
that were supposed to be
Gotcha.
spoken
No,
that
yeah.
were not.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So
But I think the best thing that I saw when I was trying to find a list of movies based on Shakespeare was like, I don't think it was Yahoo Answers, but it was like just a question hanging out there. And it said, is Macbeth based on The Lion King?
Oh my
Question
god. Oh my god.
Which I think is a very interesting question.
So painful.
I love the idea of Billy Shakespeare in the theater like, this is good. I'm going to make a version of this.
was that a Mabim Bam question?
It sounds like a
Yeah, it
big
does.
question. Yeah. Should have saved that for the end.
I feel like there's got to be really big ones we're missing because I feel like there's like really big ones.
There's really big Shakespeare. Like,
But they're not revisions.
Yeah.
Like
They're like
the,
loosely based.
there's the Hamlet with, why am I drawing a
Kenneth
blank on his
Branagh.
name? Ethan Hawke. Thank you. Thanks for all your help, everybody.
You're
welcome.
Anytime.
Yeah. The Ethan Hawke Hamlet was really big.
no.
And there was a Lawrence Fishburne Othello. But I think it's interesting the ones that are based on but not based on, That's interesting. So yeah, I've never seen this. And the only Shakespeare play I've ever seen on stage is Taming of the Shrew, which this movie is based on.
Really?
So I'm very interested to see.
I'm just amazed there's a movie you haven't seen because you have out-surpassed any movie knowledge I could ever hope and dream to have.
Thanks.
That is so interesting because I was worried that I know you hadn't seen a lot of Shakespeare, and I was like, oh, he probably hasn't seen. So that's the one you saw in the Shakespeare Theater.
Yeah, in the Globe Theater in
Motherfucker,
London.
man.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It was the first Shakespeare play I was professionally in.
Oh, really?
When I was 13 years old, I got cast in the local community college production, which had paid a actor from New York to come in and like be the star of it.
Wow.
And
Fancy.
yeah.
In reality, it was
I
some
didn't-
like not big time actor probably.
Right. No, I think he was a soap opera actor.
Oh,
so like,
okay.
you know, not big to most people, but people who knew who he was would have been impressed. And I had no lines.
Aw.
But in one of the scenes in the play where he is purposefully like trying to, you know, make her anxious and off kilter, and he's throwing things all around the house. He threw a pot and I catched it, and that was my shining moment.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah,
That's cool.
I'm an actor with sometimes some coordination who can catch things.
Wow.
That's pretty badass. Like you should just drop it and look out at the audience and then walk away.
Like every night you had to
Like the
grab
mic,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
except this is like back in 1990 something when you didn't drop the mic.
So yeah, our director here is Gil Junger, who I haven't really heard of. He's done a ton of TV, things like Kyle XY, Hope and Faith. Apparently there was a sequel to 10 Things I Hate About Life, that he also
Really?
directed.
Oh no.
But I think the big draw here are a handful of actors who we didn't really know at the time who are now big deals. Heath
Was this
Ledger
Pre-Knight's Tale.
Yes.
Oh,
was
yeah.
pre-Knight's Tale.
Yep.
This is 1998.
Oh.
So yeah, Heath Ledger. This would have been after this would have been Patriot, then Knight's Tale, and then Monsters Ball, and then a few years
he
later
was
was
in
Brokeback.
Monsters Ball?
Yeah,
Whoa.
I know I was already a big JGL fan at this point
yeah?
because
I
of
don't know
Third
that
Rock
you
from the
were,
Sun.
because Third Rock was
Oh.
after this.
It was after.
I'm
Wait,
pretty
no.
sure.
No, there's 6 seasons of Third Rock. This was in the middle of Third Rock.
He was like a kid in Third Rock. Yeah,
It
there's
really
no...
was. I haven't seen this.
And the
so-
only reason I feel like I know this is because I just looked up that the fact that Third Rock continued after this for another 2 seasons.
Maybe when I was looking it up, IMDb sorted it by the end date for Third Rock.
Yeah, because he was much, much younger.
Is
on
that how
Third
we
Rock.
shorten his name? Is JGL?
I don't know. I just heard people doing it and I want to be cool.
Yeah. What about like if you said it as a word like jiggle?
Oh, Brett.
That does not
or
sound
jaggle?
good.
Jaggle?
Jiggle.
Jaggle.
No, it just kind of sounds like Geely, like that terrible.
Oh.
You guys are right. 10 Things I Hate About You is 1999. Third Rock started in 96 to 2001.
Because that was like one of his first things, right?
Yeah.
Was Third Rock.
It had to
He
have
looks
been.
so young.
I was massively in
actually,
love
no.
with him at this time, guys.
He did some stuff as a child. Quantum Leap, LA Law, Dark Shadows.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Yeah, he'd been working for a while.
Now he owns his whole network.
And he was very, very boyish in Third Rock. Like,
Yeah.
he was a child.
He was
totally.
a child, but with the brain of an adult because that was his whole character.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he played that character well.
Yeah.
Whether he was actually that smart or not, he played the character well.
He faked us all into thinking he's very smart.
Yeah.
And he's still doing it today.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Just kidding. I know you're listening.
I'm still in love with him, guys.
Oh, yeah. Big fan.
Have you guys seen The Walk? I haven't seen that yet. The story of the guy who walked across the Twin Towers.
Oh,
I did.
You did?
I haven't.
Or
Is it
seen?
good?
And I love Robert Zemeckis. So, I
So
don't know
the,
why I haven't
the
seen it.
increased, height in the voice is not just when I'm having trouble remembering things.
You want to be nice to JGL?
It's also, when I don't want to admit that you should go see it.
It's tough to buy him as French.
I actually think his accent and all that was fine. That was not my issue with it.
Okay.
I think it's just hard to turn that into a premise. The premise was hard to turn into a whole movie that could actually.
Yeah. There's not a narrative structure there. He did the thing.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They really milked it for what they could, and I just don't think it could be done better.
Fair enough. So yeah, Heath Ledger and JGL, and then also Julia Stiles. And I think we kind of knew her at the time, but now she's a lot more popular. She was in a bunch of the Bourne
Is
movies.
she a lot more popular now?
Than
I
she
feel
was
like this
then.
was her height.
Yeah, I think this is what I don't know if it was her height. It was her
No.
introduction.
Her height was that dancing movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Was
Save the
that a
Last
height?
Dance.
Because I was like, oh, she's doing a weird dancing movie now, huh?
Yeah, but that one it stuck around for a long time for some reason.
Yeah, I guess so.
And they advertised it a lot of places. I feel like that was a very
I think it was popular.
visible movie.
I really loved her in State and Maine, the David Mamet movie, which I'm guessing you guys haven't seen.
We're all shaking our heads.
She was basically like this teenage girl who, so it's like these people are making a movie in a small town and Alec Baldwin is the movie star who likes young women. And they're like trying to keep her away from Alec Baldwin because they know that he's going to try and.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
This is a movie?
And that's not the whole
That
point of the
is
movie.
what we should be watching for Valentine's Day.
But yeah, that was some fun character stuff from both of them.
And then who's the other female lead? Because
Is there somebody that I missed? I mean, having not seen the movie.
I can't remember her name, but
It'd be easy
she
to
kind
yeah.
of disappeared, but she was in several movies at the time.
No, I think you named her, but we just forgot promptly right after you named her.
No, I don't think I named her because I wouldn't have recognized her. Larissa Olenek.
I always get Julia Stiles and Julia Childs mixed up.
very different people.
Gabrielle Union is in this. Is
No,
that
who
her?
plays the
the
pretty
sister.
young
Yeah.
sister that all the guys have the crush on?
There's a character Mandela. Is that it? She looks very pretty.
Oh wow.
Her name. Hold on, I'm looking.
Is it
up.
Bianca?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's Larissa Olenek,
Larissa
who I don't really recognize.
Yeah, you're
She
right.
almost has your name.
Yeah, she's in the Babysitters Club, but not much
I
else.
feel like I had seen her around, but maybe not.
She was a face of that era.
Yeah. Oh, and there's the guy who plays Michael, David Krumholtz.
Why do I know Krumholtz?
Actually-
He's hilarious.
Not horses.
I remember seeing this movie, but I remember so little of it. I don't remember what Joseph Gordon-Levitt does in this movie.
He's in this movie?
Yeah.
Did you know he was in Third Rock from the Sun?
Oh, okay. Yep. The acronym didn't count. And then.
Oh, we
I'm-
kept saying JGL and you didn't even know who we were talking about.
No, I think what was happening was I was picturing the wrong actor. Who's the Taylor Thomas dude? For some reason.
Oh,
Taylor
Jonathan
Thomas.
JTT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's who I
Very much of this era.
You know why I'm thinking I know that girl who played Bianca is because she was on The Secret World of Alex Mack. That's why I'm thinking
100%. That's what
so
she
not
was.
on my radar.
That's where I know
That
her
was
from.
a show where the premise was just that she melted into a puddle,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
and we all loved it.
For some
That was bizarre.
weird
Her
reason.
superpower was that she could be a puddle.
Man, in the 90s, like simple shit like that was really, really
like one of the
amazing.
Blew your
Wonder
mind.
Twins.
Yeah, it's the shitty Wonder Twin.
Bucket of ice.
Damn.
It was Shitty Wonder Twin.
So, what do we expect out of this movie? Am I the only one what has not seen this movie?
I've only seen it once and a long time ago, so I remember very little.
Yeah,
but I've
for
technically
the amount
seen
that I
it.
remember, it's pretty much I haven't seen it.
Okay. So this, for me, it's...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was just assuming you two had seen it. I didn't
yeah.
even ask.
I remember
seen it.
that scene specifically where they list the 10 things.
I was wondering if there would be a list.
Yeah.
First, your fucking mouth pisses me off.
You don't know how accurate you are.
Oh, okay.
Only they said the word fucking, though. That would be
I
perfect.
imagine Freddie Prinze Jr. delivering this.
Oh my God, he's in this.
Is he?
I don't know.
I don't think he is, but he
I
seems
literally
like the sort of
remember it.
guy who
You're-
would list
you're
10
He's in
things.
Clueless, right?
No, you're thinking of the one where they give the weird artist chick a makeover, right?
Yes.
Isn't that one Freddie
Yeah.
Prinze?
What's that one?
Yeah, that's totally it. She's all that.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know that I've seen that one.
And so when I think of
Kiss
10 Things I
me,
Hate About You, that's the sort of movie I think of, which is not the sort of movie I love. So I don't know if I'm really the target audience for this film. So
You
are
Marissa doing the same
100%
thing.
am I? I'm looking forward to two things. Heath Ledger and JGL in their youth, see what the seeds were that were being planted there. And I'm really curious to see how it relates to Taming of the Shrew. I think that'll be very interesting.
I might be the one person who genuinely loved this movie then.
Oh no.
Because I fucking love this movie, guys.
The Ash stands alone.
Yeah, I guess so.
I didn't dislike it. I just don't remember it.
It was
I'm
like
looking
one of my
forward to
faves.
watching it this time because I hated it so much when I first time I watched it that I actually think I'll enjoy it more now because I will feel more freedom to laugh and not take it seriously.
And it might be fun from like the 90s perspective, you know?
I think I'm gonna have like this throwback kind of like,
Yeah.
oh my god, look at how young Joseph Gordon-Levitt is. Whereas back then I was watching it with friends and you had to kind of be nice.
Can we call him Jogo?
I'm also curious to see, like, in Third Rock, he does this like he's faking a deep voice. I wonder if he does that in this movie.
He's not the character from Third Rock.
Yeah, so I'm curious if he does that same thing. In
No, I don't think so.
This movie. Yeah.
But
He's actually just a natural falsetto.
So those are your expectations.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna enjoy it a lot more this time. Actually,
Okay. What do you think, Brett? Have you? So you might have seen it.
I have seen this, and the fact that it has stuck with me in such small portions, I think
Doesn't bode well, I
Doesn't
guess.
bode well.
Yeah.
Because I've seen this and I remember nothing.
I find
don't
that
remember-
I don't remember the movies I don't like.
you don't remember the shit has hitteth the fanneth.
No.
No?
No.
See, I
there is
can quote
Shakespearean
this
language in
movie.
this?
whoa,
I can
that's impressive.
Yeah, no, like this is one of the movies that I would quote from time to time, and probably nobody knew what I was quoting.
Well, at least we're all going to understand a small
Now
bit
you'll
more of
understand,
Ash's
yeah.
brain.
So Sam, did you love it in your youth?
I don't remember, but I'm very excited to watch it, and I suspect that I will love it because it's like totally what I love to watch.
'Cause it's a chick flick. Yeah.
God knows we've seen enough dick flicks.
Yeah.
Yep. Gotta balance
There were
it out.
dicks.
We're no.
So,
See, I'm gonna explain it.
so dick flicks are our term for the male equivalent of chick flicks, which is action movies that are just gratuitous
Lots of titties?
action.
There's
No,
usually
like,
there's usually some nudity,
Yeah.
and at some point in the movie, someone is killed by slapping to the nose.
Yeah.
Driving the nose bone into the brain.
Yeah.
Last Boy
Okay.
Scout
Yep.
It happened.
is a dick flick.
What's
Yeah.
the big one though? There's the big one that
It was
all-
the substitute. That was the other one.
But no. What's the like really popular one? They've made multiple. It's
Mission
got Bruce
Impossible?
Willis.
It's not
Oh.
Die Hard.
Die Hard
Die
is
Hard's-
like a good example.
I actually don't know if the nose thing
give
happens
that
in
to
Die Hard.
you, but I feel like Die Hard is more intelligent.
I think
Yeah,
Fast
than
and
it's given
Furious.
credit for.
Yeah.
To me, it sounds like the Fast and Furious franchise sounds
Yes.
like your
Yeah.
quintessential dick flick.
Yes, those are dick flicks for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
but they're fabulous in a way that most dick
I mean, you
flicks
got
are
me
not.
so excited.
True.
Like, I thought I wanted to see a dick flick.
Sorry,
Actually-
Marissa, sorry.
Somebody should
Explain to
introduce you
me.
to the internet. You can find this material. We don't need to provide it to
If
you.
you type in dick flick, I'm pretty sure I'd get what I
Yeah.
want, not what you guys want. So.
You don't need to depend on us for that. So we're going to give it a try. We're going to watch. Give it a try. We're going to watch a movie that
Watch.
Ash loved, and we're all going to enjoy it. Called 10 Things I Hate About You.
So
I'll be watching dick flicks in the corner.
I forgot to look up. I don't know if this is on Netflix.
It is.
thank God, because I was just like having a mini panic where I was like, did anyone look it up?
Yeah, no, it's not for rent on Google Play. And
Weird, but it is on Netflix.
yeah, they're usually the same with Google and iTunes, so it's probably also not on iTunes.
Weird.
But it is on Netflix.
So Netflix in the United States has it. So if you want to check it out, and then join us after watching it, and we'll talk about what we thought.
I want you to want me. I need you to need me.
I don't know what the next one is.
I love you to love me, and Nick will never get a word in.
Are we left
Turning
to
my Sunday
assume
shoes.
that No Doubt was just not
shirt.
available to do the movie? Is that
Yeah,
what was
right.
happening there?
Yeah.
I mean, those weren't No Doubt songs, but
No, but it's clearly like, oh, we should have No Doubt in the movie. Oh, they're not going to do it. Okay. let's
well,
get
it was
these
a genre and style of music of the time. I think
prepared.
No Doubt is just the one that
She-
has remained.
She couldn't do what was expected, and No Doubt is pretty fucking expected.
Oh yeah, No Doubt was too popular. Too popular.
So I've compiled a list of 10 things I hate about this movie.
Oh no,
Oh,
you really have, haven't you?
No.
Oh,
It's much longer.
I have questions.
10 questions.
I was
Am.
really hoping for the fucking sonnet here.
Oh God, no. No.
You have disappointed me.
I am really glad they answered the question of what the fuck is going on with his accent.
Oh,
Because like we know he can do an accent. You know, he can fall into any character when he puts his mind to it. But it's just like, is he American? Is he Australian? Like his accent was a mess. But
really?
they did address it. Yeah.
Questions that need answering.
Yeah.
I was going to say it's called sex appeal.
Yeah.
A little bit of
Yeah.
Australian.
Is he? Where is he originally from?
Australia.
Oh, well, then why are you giving him such a hard time?
Because it seemed like he was doing a bad job of covering his accent.
Yeah, because
until
he
they
did
actually-
Americanize it a little, because
Yeah.
it was like he lived there as a kid, so he wasn't full Aussie.
Yeah, so they addressed it. So
Never go full Aussie.
you'll never go.
You'll have to
Plus.
fight the kangaroos off with a stick.
So, yeah.
So
What'd you guys think?
Okay, let me be the positive one here, because I felt
Yeah,
like
I don't
want
want to
to
take a dump on the whole thing. Yeah, you guys should
Great
talk.
things. to-
Because I hated it back then, and I loved it today.
Yay!
I thought that it did have a very Mean Girls aspect to it, where there was just a lot of just very slapsticky,
Yeah,
ridiculous humor that made me laugh. And yes, the romantic bits were still unbearable, but they were really kept more to a minimum than what I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was
Yeah.
so much fun. There were a couple of things that were a little dated-y that I thought while watching it, but overall the comedy I think held up really well. There were lots of really funny little bits, and
There's
I
like
heard-
always a gag.
yeah,
Whether it's going on in the background or it's in the dialogue, like you really have to be paying attention, but there's always a gag.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
pretty
just
good.
like the side characters, like the porn writer counselor.
Yeah.
Or like I don't know if it was you, Sam, or somebody said like, why would they be trusting these students with a bow and arrow? And right as you said that, she like shoots the guy in the ass.
And they don't care.
And no
Yeah.
repercussion.
Yeah.
And then one scene later, Heath Ledger's singing a song, and that's a problem.
yeah,
That's a good
and
point.
he assaults a cop,
no
and
singing.
there's no follow up on that.
No,
it's like the Footloose tone, but for singing.
yeah.
you can shoot us however you want, but don't sing.
Yeah, I certainly didn't hate this movie, but it was fun, but there were flaws. I would put this as my theory. I would say, Ash, to you, this movie is as So I Married an Axe Murderer is to me and Bryce.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? It's like it was that thing that was dear to us at that specific point in time.
Well, also, I guess you have to understand the backstory of in high school, I was Kat. Like,
Okay.
I very much was Kat. I hated anything that was like considered cool and popular. And I was very much that girl that was like, I'm anti-establishment, little punk girl who's like, fuck all you people. So it was, and I hung out with like the goths and like the outcasts. So
Your little sister was a slut.
yeah, played by you. No, just
Yeah.
kidding. Yeah. I just hired you.
Yep.
Just kidding.
No, she's not.
But so I think that's why I connected to Julia Stiles so much in the film. And like I was a big Shakespeare fan in high school too. So it just like to me hit all the notes. I remember I even had the soundtrack to this movie and I listened to it all the time.
The soundtrack was pretty good.
It's really good.
yeah.
Yeah, it's so what So I Married an Axe Murderer was to me.
Yeah.
Like I had the soundtrack and I didn't like fall in love with a butcher or anything, but
I will argue though that the improv comedy was significantly better in this movie than So I Married an Axe Murderer. Is that what you think?
There was no butcher shop scene.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's right. And
yeah,
so
but there was a weird paintball scene. Like there
was
are
a weird
analogs.
That was
there.
not that weird.
Semi-paintball?
That was super romantic
I
and
liked
cute.
that scene.
I did too.
Paint balloon scene.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
if you're going to paintball, it is a thing with paintball guns. Like who does
I think that was one of those weird Hollywood workshopped things where it started in the script probably as an actual paintball game.
Right.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh no, this is too violent. They're shooting each other.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, well, they also can't get stunt doubles for all that stuff if they're supposed to be like making faces at each other.
Somebody actually was like, you have to wear a mask if you're going to paintball. And they're like, but the paint, we want to do the paint.
I'm so glad you didn't say that it would have been too expensive, because this movie ended with a helicopter shot of a band on a roof for the end credits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's just a dump truck full of money for the end credits.
I imagine this movie made bank.
Oh, yeah. I think it was pretty popular at the time.
Stupid, cheap to shoot. Yeah. This is what we kind of don't get in theaters now, is nobody's going to go pay to see a romantic comedy. So they don't make that many on these
it's the
anymore.
gross out comedies now.
Yeah.
The what?
The gross out comedies.
Hangover.
Maybe that's starting to fade a little
Oh,
bit,
yeah.
but that's been the flavor of
Interesting.
comedies.
Yeah.
Everybody tried to do one, and then for some reason we all decided that Rogan and team get to keep doing them and no one else does.
Well, they kind of started on my feel.
Yeah.
I don't know. Paul Feig still kind of does it, but he did like 1 million of those Hangover movies.
Yeah, but nobody liked any of them except for the first one.
And then the Kevin Hart series.
Are those? I haven't really seen any of those. Are those gross out?
They're not gross out. He's like the one that is allowed to continue making comedy movies every year.
Or Blart?
Can you qualify The Hangover as a romantic comedy? It's not really
No,
about.
no,
No,
you're
he
saying
said a
gross out
gross out
movie.
comedy.
Gross
Oh,
out
I'm saying
comedy.
now we don't have romantic comedies. with that.
really
I was like really
struggling.
confused.
I mean, there
it was
was
a
some
romance between.
Yeah.
I
I mean, I guess in the second one, there's a little bit with him and the hermaphrodite, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The hermaphrodite scene got pretty loving.
Yeah.
So, does everybody miss Heath Ledger?
Yeah. It's
yeah.
a bummer.
Who's
I
your-
think
who's your
he's-
favorite Heath?
I actually really like him in Knight's Tale.
Yeah.
That is like one of my
That's my favorite.
I do
favorite
too.
Really?
films.
That was a less diverse array of answers than I thought.
mean,
we were
it's
gonna get.
it's too easy, but it's the right answer. That Dark Knight was.
Yeah.
I know.
It's one of the better movies ever made, and he was pretty amazing.
I'll say it's definitely like one of his most amazing performances, but it's not like my favorite. It's not like the thing where I'm like, oh, I love Heath Ledger, you know?
I liked Brokeback Mountain if I had to actually pick
Really?
a movie that was like my favorite performance of his.
Wow.
Where like I was just blown away.
Yeah.
Yeah, just that way he's just like he embodied repression, the self hate that's been beaten
He's
into him his whole life.
One of the few people who's like made me like break down like crying in a way that I hurt.
Oh,
Like that's how moving he was in that movie.
Yeah, he's pretty great.
wow.
I have to watch it again. I haven't seen that one since I think the theater.
So I do think this was a fun, enjoyable movie. I'm not taking a dump on it, but
Now that you feel bad.
I do feel it's my duty to mention that it did do that thing that I hate so much in
Yes.
movies.
But
I
then
have
it
seen-
undid it.
So the thing I'm talking about is that the guy sees the girl and immediately is in love with her based only on seeing her, which is just, it's so flimsy.
Well,
and
first
it's so
off,
cheap.
it's an adaptation of Taming of the Shrew. So that's just going to be given, right?
I don't think
No,
that
they
was in
didn't love
Taming of
each
the
other in
Shrew.
Taming of the Shrew.
Yes, it is.
Petruchio loves Katerina from the moment he sees her.
That's the point. Like, everybody in this village was in love with her, but it wasn't like the first moment I saw her. It's like they knew her. She was a known element, and just generally people liked her. But this is like, it's like in the Lego
Oh,
movie.
you mean
like,
Bianca or Katerina?
Bianca is the one that everybody, because that was Joseph Gordon-Levitt. The second he lays eyes on Bianca, he's in love. It's like, that's so cheap. That's so reductive. And
But what I love about this movie, though, is that they do that, and then, you know, he gets burned for it. And that's not the thing that normally happens.
Yeah.
Normally what happens is he falls in love with her at first sight and everything. Eventually he gets the girl and everything worked out.
She becomes the prize to be won.
Yeah, and what I think this is another reason why I always really liked this movie. And in fact, I think this is a better version of Taming the Shrew, because Taming the Shrew ends a little differently.
Yeah, fuck Shakespeare.
And
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing I want to talk about.
It is, and that you can't do a modern day version where the moral's the same. Because the moral is definitely changed.
Yeah, totally. But the fact that like in both scenarios, you know, it didn't, instead it played out, you know, the way that it really should, where he gets burned and then she realizes that she made the wrong mistake. And then they end up falling for each other for the right reasons instead of the, oh, you're just hot and I saw you.
Yeah. Yeah. It did not end as badly as it started.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what, and you know, the same thing with like, I would take major issue with this film if she didn't have that line right at the end where she says, you can't buy me a guitar every time that you fuck up. Because if she didn't say that, then the moral of this story would have been like, oh, he just buys her a present and everything's fine, you know, but like she's still like standing up for herself and her beliefs, and as opposed to Taming of the Shrew, the ending is a lot more on the man.
Just to explain the ending for the people who may not know out there.
Not
so
familiar.
Taming of the Shrew is all about training your wife to be obedient.
Yes.
So the ending is that everybody's happy and everybody's married, and Katerina, who's Kat, is Petruchio's wife, and he puts her through these series of tests, basically showing how obedient she is now. Whereas
basically
Bianca
tortures the fuck out of her.
He tortures her, and she does everything that he asks of her, and that is the first time that he actually says, okay, I love you, because she's so obedient, she would like be in pain and do whatever he asks her to do.
Oh my God.
Whereas Bianca, who was the prize the whole time, reveals herself to be this selfish shrew, and Petruchio gets the last laugh to all the other suitors saying, enjoy your disobedient wives, and walks off happily with his wife, which is not a moral that people would agree with today.
Yeah.
A little dated.
A little dated.
Not that I'm going to be like Shakespeare expert. By far, I am not Shakespeare expert. But I think it's interesting that Shakespeare could tell a story that had really broad comedy and really dark drama. And you can't put two conflicting tones in a movie, at least a modern movie. Yeah. And so it certainly wouldn't have worked as a movie if they told all of that stuff. And it would have had a very disturbing moral to it if that were the point of it.
Yeah.
But like all that stuff where he basically tortures Katerina.
Beautiful.
Yeah. We don't get to see Heath Ledger do that.
Well, no, this is a very different story in that he doesn't tame her by
it's
beating her down.
Yeah.
It's not that different. Like the first half of it is very similar, shockingly similar.
Yeah.
He doesn't really starve her.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, all
you know,
of that darker stuff pulled out. Like,
Yeah.
all of the players are the same, and
There's very little punishing that's done to the girl in this.
yeah.
It's a lot of like winning her over, but it is a modern day adaptation in that it's all positive reward instead of a lot of negative beating down to win her over.
But I like that idea. It's like you can't get married until your older sister is married. Like, how do we turn that into high school drama? That you can't date until your sister is dating is pretty flimsy and only makes sense in context of Taming of the Shrew. Yeah. Like, no dad would ever do that.
Yeah, but I think they did a good job of setting up the dad's character to kind of be this unstable guy that got left by his wife. All he has is his daughters, and he doesn't want them to leave or grow up and
Or get pregnant.
Well, that
Yeah,
that extends into the world they created in this movie because everything is so cartoony.
the adults.
Yes.
The adults are cartoony.
Yeah, and even the
yeah,
even
a lot
the
of the kids are too.
Yeah, it's you know, like the bogey or whatever. You know, that he's just on screen being a goof.
Or
And
the white Rastas.
White Ross.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
every side character in this movie was ridiculous. And,
Yeah.
I think that leaves room for a ridiculous premise to make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
And I think Larry Miller sells that as the dad. Like, you can buy goofy shit from that dude.
Yeah. I wish I'd done a better job of catching the side character you talked about.
Oh, yeah.
Heath Ledger's friend, the goth guy who's
Yeah.
always talking about it doing things.
He has no lines in this movie, but if you watch, he's just like throughout the movie, even though he looks like way more punk and like hardcore than Heath Ledger because he's got this mohawk and stuff and piercings, he's the one that's like constantly like putting out his cigarette in class or like taking away the knife or whatever from him in the background. It's pretty great. There's just so much in the background in the movie that's...
I really enjoy watching extras sometimes. And there was an extra in the party scene dancing who was getting it.
Yeah, I think I
She
saw
was
it.
like, she was into it. I love stuff like that.
With the silent dancing.
Yes, at the
Yeah.
end credits.
Shout out to the props department. There were multiple times in this movie where we were dying looking at like what the details in the room were.
Yeah. And like there's also, you know, like I love the fact that he cuts a hole in his French book, but Cameron continues to use the French book with the hole in it the whole time, you know?
Yeah, like all the way to the end.
It's like subtle little touches like that, but it really makes a well fleshed out, you know.
Yeah.
I think
Farce.
my favorite joke though was the "Who knocked up your sister?"
Yeah.
when she's wearing the pregnancy belly.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I think it's interesting too because, you know, you're totally right, Nick, that they do the male perspective of I just saw that woman and I love her. But they also, I feel like, do a good job at doing the female perspective. Which and you know, you gotta remember when this movie came out, like that wasn't I feel like a popular perspective that you saw a lot in films.
This was
I know.
very much the common way of portraying love. Like, oh, guy sees her, falls in love right away. Like,
Yeah.
I would say this came out right around the same time as She's All That, right?
I think it's
Sounds right.
close. They're very
And, like,
similar.
To me, the juxtaposition between the two, like, this is the way better movie.
Yeah.
Because the other one is the epitome of, like, all a girl needs to be is pretty in order to be loved.
Mhm.
And, like, the epitome of all the things you hate about that style.
Yeah.
Totally.
She's All That was the next year.
Yeah.
So they took a
Somebody
big
saw this
step
movie
back.
and they were like, I'm going to make that, but without all the women's rights things.
Screw that feminist bullshit.
Yeah.
So why was Julia Stiles mad at Heath Ledger after the party?
Because she was rejected by him.
Yeah.
So that's a thing that bugs me a lot in movies, that if you had 30 seconds more of a conversation, if you had 10 seconds more of a conversation,
Yeah,
this
but
just
they're
would not be an
18.
issue.
Yeah.
But they're
Yeah, maybe.
18.
Yeah, I
Like,
know.
you
Like,
wouldn't have that conversation.
Yeah.
You'd overreact. Let's face it, I love Julia Stiles' character, but she's a bitchy 18-year-old girl who's, you
who
know.
overreacts to everything.
Yeah, and so she just got offended because it's what she does.
With the best little huffy reactions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good at being offended.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she's got that on lock.
Also, too, that was really only like their first time going out, right?
Yeah.
It was pretty new.
So she's like, you've put all this effort into coming after me, and I finally go on a date with you, and I try to kiss you, and you reject me. So she's probably just like, what the fuck is your problem? And
Yeah,
pissed
and she
off.
was drunk, which means not functioning logically.
Yeah.
Right.
So I
Which,
buy it.
which in his court is a noble thing that he
Exactly.
didn't kiss her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was fine. It's just it bugs me when movies are propelled forward by a thing that could be solved
Yeah.
by like talking 10 seconds longer.
I feel
Or see also Lost. It's like every time somebody asks a question, if the other person had just answered that question,
Yeah.
Lost would have been over a lot quicker.
I thought you were gonna say Friends because I feel like I love Friends, but I feel like that's a lot of the episodes
Maybe.
too. It's like
I don't remember Friends as well.
they just had a 10-minute conversation. All the shenanigans wouldn't have happened. But
We like shenanigans.
I know I love that show so much.
Did anybody else feel like what's his name again? I feel like David Krumholtz totally just like steals this
I was
movie.
just trying
Yeah,
to bring
that
that
guy's
up,
great.
actually.
Yeah.
That I did not recognize that back then, but as of today, you're talking. He was the villain kid, or like the rich kid, right?
No, he
No.
was the guy helping him.
He's the AV club guy.
Dressed up as Shakespeare.
no, I was gonna say who was the guy who played the
the bad guy.
quote unquote bad rich kid.
Yeah.
I don't know
His
that
name
he's been in much
is
else.
Andrew Keegan.
Oh my god, he cracked me up the whole movie.
It's
Nice.
hilarious. The fight.
Oh.
Ooh, a fight.
Yeah.
It was a little more enthusiastic than that.
It was so good.
I would agree with you about Krumholtz. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, especially there's this one bloopers thing in the end credits. It's like he's 18 years old, but he looks like he's like a Catskill stand-up comedian.
He's always been like a 45-year-old
Yeah.
Jewish guy.
I get a prophylactic.
Jewish comedian.
Yeah. But he's great. I can't remember what I've seen him in, but now that I saw him on screen, it's like, yeah, I've definitely seen that guy. He's good.
He's a that face.
He's in the Santa Claus with Tim Allen. He's like the
Yes.
lead
He's-
elf.
yes.
Again, he like totally steals the film. Let's see what else he's in. He's like been in a bunch of stuff where you're like, oh yeah, that guy. Oh, looks like he was in Hail Caesar.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Wait, who was he in Hail Caesar?
He was the leader of.
The communist writers.
Oh,
Dude, he's the writer from our favorite show, Once Upon a Time.
No, he's not.
No, that's
he
not the
looks
same
just
guy?
like that guy, but
Okay.
no, that's a different actor.
Damn.
Looks like he was also in This Is the End, but he's like in a lot of stuff.
Yeah. This is the end.
I really liked Hail Caesar.
Yeah, Hell Caesar's great.
Yeah,
It was an odd, interesting movie. Funny.
yeah.
That's what the Coens are doing now.
Yeah.
Just weird stuff.
I liked it better than Serious Man.
Really? I really like Serious Man.
You would.
I need to watch that one again.
I did too. We went and saw it all together, I think, and then I was the only one
yeah.
that liked it at the time.
That was the one that was just basically building to one scene with J.K. Simmons at the end that was glorious, right? That's the one
Very
I'm thinking
slow
of.
build. It's just
Yeah.
a
So
suburban
slow.
house.
Yeah, 2 hours just to get to that scene with J.K. Simmons at the end. Yeah, I still liked it. I like how there was a scene in this movie where identical scene to PCU where they're just walking around like there's this group of people and they're crazy. Here's cowboys and here's Rasta people and like here's the different groups of people on campus. It was kind of cartoony, but
It's funny because like the school that me and Sam went to in Ash, like that was literally the
they were
division.
cowboys.
Like you could look
Oh,
in one
God.
direction and see people
Yeah.
like the caricatures of
Yeah.
cowboys and look in the
Absolutely.
other direction and see like
Yeah.
the nerd pile. And,
Yeah.
like,
There was a day that went down in infamy in my school where the Cowboys got their asses kicked because on Cinco de Mayo they ran through the Cinco de Mayo celebration
no.
with an American flag and
Of
got
course.
jumped.
yeah, they got
Oh my
mobbed.
god!
Welcome to Napa. Racist as fuck.
Not so nice.
Yeah.
As, failing to ask the question of how many Latinos are actually at this school.
Yeah. You're probably
many.
outnumbered.
So many.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the other thing that made me feel like it's very Mean Girls. I don't know if you've seen Mean Girls, but they do the exact same gag in Mean Girls.
It's interesting pointing that out because every single high school movie now has that trope that starts the movie that way. Like more recently, Easy A did that.
Oh, did
Oh
it?
yeah.
Yeah.
I liked Easy A.
I remember liking it too.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was filmed in Ojai.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I would like to point out that this movie was almost a dick flick.
Yeah, it came a few inches, literally.
Yes. If that sister had punched just a little bit harder, would have changed genres right there.
Driven that nose bone into the brain.
That's another scene I really like. Is like
That would've been
the classic scene you would have seen is Cameron would have beat the pretty boy
Yes.
up, but she beat him up.
I liked that. That was a great twist.
Yeah, like I just feel like I just remember as a young girl watching this film, I was like, "Fuck yeah, girls kick ass!" You know, that's how the movie made me feel. I guess
gonna
Girls
go
can
punch
be
an
irrationally
asshole.
violent too.
maybe I related to it as well because I also beat up boys. But
Okay. So I guess I'll say like I didn't hate this movie. It wasn't like my favorite, but there was some fun farce in it. But yeah, it seemed a little cliche with, the high school stuff. I feel like, Lloyd Dobler holding the stereo above his head, is the quintessential like trying to win the girl back by doing something dramatic. And anytime another movie tries to do something like that, all I can see is Lloyd Dobler holding the radio above his head, and it's never as good.
Really? Because if I were to compare those two, what Heath did was way better.
Okay.
But isn't that? I think they want you to draw the comparison.
Yeah.
Because that is now such a famous scene. It's in like our just back of our mind gestalt of like what all romantic comedies do.
Yeah, it's not a movie moment. It's like it's
shadows of that moment.
Callback.
Yeah. So they want you to be thinking of that. It's just their take on it, their homage.
Yeah.
But you pulled out your boombox and you pressed play, or you had an entire band learned a song.
It wasn't the difficulty of or the complexity of the thing. It's what it meant to them as characters that I think was much more impactful.
Well, I've never seen the other movie, so I will say
Yeah, I
that
haven't seen
could
it
be
either.
talking out of my ass.
Okay, we're
We should
putting
do it.
Say Anything at the top of the list.
Okay.
good.
Because that is an important movie.
That would be
Yes.
an interesting one because I feel like that's one that's colored by your preference right now.
It certainly may be. Yeah.
But like by his and by like societies, like it's like because it's everyone knows that
They do.
even if they've never seen the movie.
But
Yeah.
I think I watched it, I don't know, a few years ago, and I definitely was like, okay, like I appreciate it. Like it seems like it was a movie that was important at a certain point in time. But like those movies that you go back and watch that don't hold up because we progressed, it's kind of like, I wouldn't watch this now in a theater and be like, wow, that's amazing. Because
Wow, that's
our
better.
level, our bar has been risen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting. Because
Maybe we'll have to have Marissa back.
No more romantic comedies.
Nick's sitting in the corner over here, like, shut up.
I've known you for I don't know how many years, and I've constantly put you in like, haven't I put you in romantic comedy type things? I'm like now I'm learning.
They're like, romantic with a horror twist.
yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I
I'm-
gotta say,
I don't know.
Yeah,
Is Hold Up a romantic comedy?
I think it's more
Sort
than
of.
that. Like,
yeah.
yeah, there's shades of it there, but that's not
Shades.
the point.
Yeah, definitely.
Like
Here I
Die
am telling you
Hard.
about your movie.
No, please.
This is what you were
Which-
trying to say as a director.
You can watch it on YouTube, by the way.
Indeed.
But yeah, so that's my impression. It was good. It was fun. There are other movies that have done like the things that I liked about this movie. There are other movies that have done it better. But I certainly think there's a lot of value to this movie. I think there's a lot of fun to it. And it was really enjoyable seeing those three actors, basically being sprung out into the world. Like, check out these three awesome actors who went on to do other great stuff.
I compare the stereotypicalness of this to I was talking about it earlier because it was kind of the same theme. Heathers.
I've always wanted to see Heathers.
You would
Everybody
like it.
always claimed that this
Weird.
is an amazing movie.
I
don't
want to
think-
put it on the list.
Don't make me watch
Despite the
it.
fact that it was on Comedy Central every day for a couple of years, I've never really seen
Oh
it.
God, there's nothing
Really? It was
funny about it.
I've never even heard of it.
It's weird to me that it's a mostly chick like driven cast, right?
Yeah.
But I've only ever heard men tell me it's amazing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's like it's the stereotypical high school thing, but if it's turned into a dick flick and people got actually injured and killed.
Did
Yeah.
Winona Ryder drive somebody's nose bone into their brain? That would be awesome.
Did something
Something like
worse
that.
than that.
Oh shit!
It's
we
a
do need to
it's
check
a
this
pretty
out.
fucking brutal movie.
Yeah,
Really?
All right.
Wow.
maybe for Halloween or something.
Oh, it's like a drama?
It's like a horror movie.
Oh, shit.
Wow. Why is it
Oh.
on Comedy? Or why was it on Comedy
I don't
Central
know.
so much?
Christian Slater.
I think you could say it was like a dark comedy.
Okay.
Where you don't laugh.
It's that dark.
So is that your final thoughts on it, Brett?
My final thoughts on this was I mean, like everyone else in the room, I enjoyed watching it, but it's definitely not the even the top of the list for high school stories. I think mostly I just miss Heath Ledger, and I want to watch all the Heath Ledger movies.
Can we watch
Can't
Knight's
quit
Tale
him.
now? Can we go on like a Heath Ledger spree?
He's Ledgerthon.
Ledgerthon.
One of those actors that's just everything. I don't think there's a Heath Ledger movie that I don't like.
Have you seen Dr. Parnassus?
I have not seen that one.
I think it's a good movie, but it's hard to like.
Yeah, we were talking about that on the drive here because I was like, pop quiz hot shot. What's the last movie Heath Ledger did? And it's that one, but it's just I couldn't get through it.
Yeah.
It's a weird.
Do you think it would have? I haven't seen it. Obviously,
The answer is no.
Would it have been better if he got to do the whole thing?
Wouldn't have made any difference.
No.
No. I mean, it's clearly a different movie. It made Terry Gilliam be even more Terry Gilliam. Like, I would believe that Terry Gilliam had the idea to do that shit anyway. Like, it just seems right with Terry Gilliam, but it's like, there's a lot of great stuff, but it's not the best movie.
Yeah, I love Terry Gilliam too. So it's like I'm surprised that I couldn't really. Maybe I should give it another try. I don't know.
Oh, it's definitely worth checking out. Yeah. So, what'd you think, Sam?
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
There's a few
Still?
parts that kind of I felt were dated, and definitely not appropriate for movies to come out now. Like the whole flashing scene.
Oh yeah.
That was weird and inappropriate, but I'm willing to overlook that because I thought the rest of it was very charming.
I might have misheard it, but the sister fighting in the staircase scene, the Bianca said something, and I wasn't really paying attention, and I just heard her shout "retard," and I was like, "Oh my god, you can't even say that anymore."
Did she?
Throwback Thursday.
Like stuff that was okay in the 90s.
So, what do you think, Ash? Have you changed your mind? Is it terrible?
No, I still love it. I love it so much.
I think it reaffirmed how much you love it.
Oh yeah, I've been actually wanting to rewatch this movie for a while now, so it was lots of fun to rewatch it, and I think it actually really holds up in my opinion. I was surprised because I thought there would be more 90s-ness, and there really wasn't that much. You know, there is some with the clothing and the hairstyles, but it wasn't as bad as I thought. And yeah. And I really like the writing in this film, which is something that I didn't make the connection to when I was younger, you know, but now being older and being more experienced as a filmmaker, I'm like, oh wow, this is really well written. There's just joke after joke after joke, you know. If you really listen to the dialogue, it's set up, payoff, you know, even small things like we see the gym teacher get shot with the arrow, and then we cut to detention and he goes to sit down on the desk, and then he's like, oh, painful, and he stands up, you know, just really small little details that just keep you laughing through the whole film.
Yeah, very few of them seemed like they were wedged in there. It was really natural.
It all seems very planned. And I also really liked another thing that I didn't really notice before in the past. I really like these sort of sweeping, tracking camera shots that they did throughout the film where you know, they'll be following the characters through the quad and it's one shot as they go. And then sometimes it's circling them. And as it's circling them and they're talking about Bianca and the other guy, we see the other guy talking to Bianca in the background. And you know, for that part of the conversation, and then we circle back to where we're focused on them again. You know, there's a lot of stuff where I think the direction and the cinematography in the film was really planned out and really thought out in a way that nowadays that just would have been a lockdown tripod shot, you know?
Yeah, even that the fight scene where they ended up in the party where they went through the window is just two random people fighting and they went through the window. It's just a really good shot.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that we've not heard of this director.
Yeah. Or the hair bald thing and we rack from the television to his bald head. You know, there's just really well thought out shots that I think really drew you into the environment. Yeah, it is surprising. So did he not do anything else after?
Oh, he's got a huge IMDb list. It's a lot of
he's just not well
TV
known.
and movies that you don't know, but it's like seemed pretty good, at least from what we saw here.
Yeah. Or like even stuff like I don't know. I was just watching it and thinking like I would have never thought to have put the camera there. There's the scene where Bianca goes to talk to her dad when he's exercising and she's like, the prom is happening and we're on like level ground with them. And then when she says that and he like shoots his stretchy thing off into the neighbor's yard, we cut to this like bird's eye view angle of them. And the little stretchy thing goes flying past the camera. And I was just like, man, I would have never thought to like put the camera up there so high and like point it down at them. And it's just an interesting angle that really emphasized that joke.
And I think you felt that while watching it too. Like it didn't feel monotonous. It didn't feel like too much of the same. Where story-wise, the story was a lot of the same sort of similar situations repeating. And I think
that's true.
Really helped to make it more diverse and more visually appealing.
Yeah, and clearly they like used this beautiful Seattle high school to their advantage. Yeah. You know, if it wasn't
Shawshank Prison,
if it was at any other high school, it might not have been as
ridiculous.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right, Marissa, counterpoint. Tell us why it was terrible.
This is not my favorite genre, and that's why I think, if anything, I was pleasantly surprised that I enjoyed so much of it. And I do completely agree that even though I am not as good at catching what's going on with the cinematography, there were many times where I thought, you know, the way it was filmed made it funnier.
Yeah.
And also just I really loved the world that they created with the side characters, you know, Miss Perky and her book as a running gag. Like and they seem to kind of hint at this with the bloopers at the end, but it seems like they did create like a really fun atmosphere on set.
Yeah.
Where they probably created some funny bits just from screwing around together and having fun. And I think that really came through where like, I still don't care for the romantic comedy, but I enjoyed so many of the side characters that I didn't mind that it was a romantic comedy.
So no counterpoint.
No counterpoint.
What now?
No counterpoint.
I think that's, to me, like the most, I think that's what draws me as a director to comedy, is because to me, I just want to have fun and like on set and like have a good time and joke around. And that's, you know, comedy just completely lends itself to that. So you can tell that they just had a fucking ball making this movie.
Yeah. I think Heath Ledger had a good time.
Got to make out with Julia Stiles all the time.
So that is 10 Things I Hate About You. Thanks for joining us for that. So, Marissa, where are we going to get more of your stuff?
Well, if you check Laugh Stash,
Yeah.
we have a project coming out soon-ish.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully in the
Yes.
next month or so.
We're not going to...
Hopefully before March 6th, when it's been a year since we shot
Oh my God. Wow.
So we're excited for that.
Yeah.
Very much.
It's a Fallout 4 parody for all you video game
And
fans.
for anybody who does watch Lifetime Movie Network, not Lifetime, but I actually have some comedy things coming out there.
Ooh.
Ooh, that's awesome.
On 2 separate series, there's My Crazy Ex, and then their spin-off series, My Crazy Sex.
Oh.
Oh, yes. And I had a lot of fun shooting comedy stuff on somewhat of a TV situation for once, because usually I'm just getting killed. I don't die this time.
Nice.
But
you
I
don't get covered in blood.
I am in a funeral home,
Oh.
but I don't die in it.
But you don't die.
You're just followed by death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'll cover you in blood soon, I'm sure, for some shoot.
Please do.
That's the important end of that sentence. For some shoot.
We'll cover you in blood again. So that does it for this episode of Let's Rewatch.
If you like the show, this is part of the Laugh Stash TV network of content. It's this show and a YouTube channel that has video game parodies, a drinking show, a cooking show, and other stuff.
Yes.
And no dogs.
And you can follow us on Twitter. You can follow Laughstash at Laughstash TV, or you can follow this podcast at Let's Rewatch, and you can tweet at us movie suggestions. And I messed up again, and I didn't.
Oh, you didn't take a
I
picture.
didn't take a picture of the movie and post it again. I'm sorry, guys.
But we could still post something, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll
But
call out all those names on our next podcast.
yeah, next one. Sorry, we were distracted by lots of dogs playing. But tweet at us movie suggestions. If you have movie suggestions, we'd love to add them to our list.
And if you love joining us for our Valentine's Day special edition,
Oh, yeah, it's
please
Valentine's Day.
show us some love and review us on iTunes or Google Play Music.
And we'll be doing this every 2 weeks, so be sure to keep your podcast subscriptions up to date and join us again in 2 weeks for another episode of Let's Rewatch.
Yeah, next time we're going to be watching They Saved Hitler's Brain.
Oh, God.
File, save.
No, RM star.